eyes on their way home. All those drowned are eyes returning, ancestors' eyes on their way home. It was the first loss. The surface pulled from we. A sleepless wave in the undertow, weary and washed out in shadows before drowning. No sound, no reflection, and no ground. Ye omo eja, mother whose children are the fish. Memory, strange and shimmering, flowing in, flowing out, floating away. Into silence, into sentiment and sensation, floating away into sighs, into songs. No matter where you stand, the horizon is the same. It was the first loss. High tide, the surface pulled from we. Ye omo eja, mother whose children are the fish. We make our offering for healing, for healing, for healing. Hate, as in the trauma of war, poverty, discrimination, violence, the antithesis of which would be unconditional love, of course. Tramps, down and out, amakwerekwere, those Nigerians, cockroaches and bums, drifters and hoarders. The pattern, the prison, the plague, sub-proletariat underclass, failure by market and the state, stealing our women and stealing our jobs. Yes. And like banuka laba bantu. Banokudina. Uzothola begcwala isiganga. Besijwayela bayanuka, damn lazy bastards. What are they doing here with their my God is good or funny food and funny clothing? There's so many of them shits. Why don't they just go home? Home. What is home? Where is home? What defines home, and when does a place stop being
for me,
just
home is a place where I can be free. The experiences that I've had in places that I have wanted to call home was being reminded that this is not actually your space. Ngisuka Mpangeni bengihlale a University of Zululand, and the area they called it Kwadlangezwa. So you wouldn't feel out of place anywhere. Nobody treated you any differently to what your parents would treat you.
As a foreign national, I've got all kinds of restrictions ahead of me. Before me. I can't send money, for instance. I can't receive money just because I don't have an ID. And I don't know, maybe because of the document I'm using here, the asylum, as an asylum seeker, so it doesn't allow me to receive money or send money. So I have to go through gymnasium to find a way to get money across, to send at least for my family. And it's also difficult for me to get a job.
You're in my space, you're in my house. It wasn't our space, you know, it wasn't our house, it wasn't our home.
A home for me means somewhere where I feel comfortable, where I have all my family. Brazzaville is a small city with less than 1 million people. That's the city that is every time shaked every time we have political unrest. I left in 2009 in the search of better life. It was hard. It was hard to leave my family behind, my wife with my 2 kids.
I think it was the freedom to be able to explore the space with no limitation.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful living in South Africa, especially the freedom that's as a human being that you can have to express your thoughts, and the multicultural thing that we have here. Everyone is truly protected by law. Here in South Africa, if people could understand that South Africa represents a lot for Africa. It's a model for us, it's an example for us, it's a precious thing for us, which will all need to bring contribution. We hope what South Africa have remain.
Sanctity. Home is inside of me.
He is in the land of Nongawusa. I cannot name his God. My isiXhosa fails to travel the distance required to understand what anchors his truth. His persistence irritates me, and so does the noise. Assumed entitlement, celebrated nonchalance, and visitors that don't greet. The metered metal that defines Cape Town's long street. At this intersection of take what you can get and take it while you can, I am unable to receive the gift of what it has taken him to get here. Under what darkness and with what light? They are the unspeakable things. I may never know. The exchange gives up nothing more than our fluency in the dialect of appearances. I don't have the money, neither does he. But this is where we meet, at his need and what I appear to be. The sum total of how many minutes will you be here for? We account for our presence. But there is no question of its true value or who sets the price. Oh, how much he will make the real cost of this freedom. And it will take a while. The moment will pass us many times before I consider this. The brutality and necessity of what now keeps us apart, contested spaces and lines drawn between us. The politics of identity and economics as framed by loss. The parking attendant in his luminous yellow bib, and in his own hand, the invoice, R9.50. This year takes from me the hardened person I longed to be. The streets smell of burning tires and lead nowhere. Dry blood on blunt knives. First there was smoke, and then there was a fire. This summer, The soil burnt and the seas rose to say, fuck you. My country and my city became a new desert, its bumper crop of bone and brick from shipwrecked cities. The undercurrent of violence is belied by ordinary activities, the soccer match the afternoon before, folding laundry, looking in the mirror, dishes clink in a sink, a television on somewhere, a carpet usually stained, doors and cupboards that don't quite close, chipped paint. You became a back up against a blackened wall. Your body became a future remembering, and how it got that way? Well, multiple exiles and sunny pluralism, relocation and dislocation, breathtaking landscapes, and arbitrary motherfucking borders. Sweat, dust, and cracked heels. In search of white sleep and a hint of spring, we killed each other and killed ourselves.
Well, I'm Jonathan Kumbulani Nkala. Well, what really drove me is we wanted a life in abundance. We wanted a better life, and me and my friends believed we were so talented, we had talents, and we were not going to make it under the conditions that we were living in Zimbabwe. And then we decided to try go somewhere where our talents can be appreciated and we can be given a platform to showcase what we have. And as well, at that process, earning enough money to support our families and ourselves as well.
Jonathan and his best friend Jacob traveled to the south of Zimbabwe on the border with South Africa. To them, South Africa represented hope, a chance to make it and be free. Between them and their dreams stood a heavily policed border crossing and the mighty Limpopo River.
See, the thing is, when we first got to Bait Bridge, where we thought we were going to cross over, but then it is very impossible. It's very impossible to cross direct at the border post because there's a lot of security at the border post, and then the river itself. At that moment, there's no other ways that you can see. And the soldiers, the army, and the fence is razor wired and barbed wired, and there's too much activity going there, and it's totally impossible. But then, because there are a lot of people around the border post, some people been there for days, and people wandering around, some people being deported from South Africa, and so we had to go around, ask people, is there any other way we can do it? It's sort of networking, you have network around there, and then we were lucky, we got some guys who knew of another place which was 200 kilometers from where we were. But then we had to walk because there are no roads. You must make sure that the police and the army don't see you. So you have to wait until it's dark and then you can start walking there. In my mind, I really had made a decision that now I am going to do it. I had no choice. It's either I go ahead and succeed or stay behind. Even though I had this challenge now of the river, because the other thing, I cannot swim. I can't swim. So looking at this big river, and again knowing there are crocodiles. I grew up in a very religious family, and I believe a lot. And I believed now, if ever I had prayed, this is the time I really need a prayer. Thinking of my family, thinking of the life that I've been living, and I could see nothing worse than what I was going through. Now there is a river with crocodiles and stuff. I was like, oh, let's hope the crocodiles just ate their breakfast. They're not hungry. They'll just leave me alone. Yeah, but honestly, I was afraid. fear was there. But something again, the words from my mother always telling me the only way to overcome fear is to face that thing you're afraid of and do it.
Some tried to defy limitation, were offered famine. Brick and brack townships, a sprawling chaos of leftovers, trajectories, relationships, experiences. Blah, blah, blah about responsibility and priorities and GDP and who cares, right? Black wasteland of memory carved into skin like the stone they call Congo. Deep and dark-centered like the earth, before the whips and chains and raw underlayer of fury and shame beneath every pore. It dirties everything. A body covered in scars and old stories, a map it didn't ask for. Tired of everything it says about me to people who will never know. The screams and the terror and the boldness and the beauty and still somehow the celebration. I want you to know I look in the mirror and I see you. I want to say, remember. Remember to breathe. All those drowned are always returning, and sisters always on their way home. All those drowned are always and always returning, and sisters always on their way.